What's going on, boys? How are you? It's Coach Medina coming at you live from Dyer, Indiana. I'm currently trying to potty train my daughter. I was potty training her all yesterday and the day before. I needed to make this video. My wife's not home, so I had to drive all the way out here so that they can watch her and I can record this video for you guys. So hopefully you enjoy it, you watch all the way to the end, and hopefully it'll help you out. So this is a freshman only video. This is about Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, Scene 1 and 2. These are pretty important scenes as far as Shakespeare goes, as far as like plays go in general. This is like where one of the most important scenes in all of theater comes out with a not to be or not to be, that's Hamlet, but the Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo, that balcony scene, it's huge. So yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to hopefully make sure that everybody understands or knows what's going on. And yeah, if you need anything, you just make sure you let me know. So Act 2, Scene 1 and 2, we see that, or we left off with Benvolio and Romeo talking about going to that party. Remember the party that the Capulets were throwing? Romeo does want to go, but the only reason he wants to go is to see his ex, Rosaline. And Benvolio says there's going to be a lot of other girls and it's going to be cool. So they go to the party and they're accepted. Remember, Romeo finds what he thinks is the love of his life. They end up talking. They end up kissing. Things move very quickly. And in this play, things move very quickly, almost to a point where you're like, I don't know. But you have to kind of suspend your reality a little bit. So Act 2, Scene 1 starts us off with Romeo just finishing meeting the love of his life. The idea of love at first sight, I think that's where that common idea of today comes from this play. So Romeo doesn't go home right after the party. He hangs out outside Juliet's window. Mercutio is there kind of like yelling, making fun of Romeo, and he ends up leaving with Benvolio because they couldn't find Romeo and he wouldn't come out. They didn't know that he was hiding outside of Juliet's window, and he ends up going to her orchard to kind of, wait until he can see her again. So thus begins the most popular scene pretty much ever in theater, the whole "Wherefore art thou" scene, right? So that starts in Scene 2. So we get to Scene 2. Juliet ends up coming out of her balcony, and Romeo in the bushes is speaking to himself. The only people that could hear him are us, the audience, right? So we are hearing his true thoughts, his true feelings, without Juliet even knowing that he's there, right? That's the whole idea of dramatic irony, us knowing what she doesn't. So Romeo speaks and compares her to nature. He says he compares her amazingness to like the moon and things like that. So he's definitely being very romantic. Juliet then speaks to nobody out on the balcony, but Romeo, little does she know, is listening. Again, that whole dramatic irony. She doesn't know, but we know as the audience, right? Juliet says that she'd give up her name for Romeo. She'll do, whatever it takes if she can be with him, if he only does the same for her. Right, and Romeo is hearing this, and Romeo is happy, man. He's ecstatic about hearing that. So Romeo makes himself known, and he ends up professing her love to him. He ends up professing his love to her after her spilling her guts. Now, can you imagine how embarrassed she probably was after, him listening to all that, right? She was probably super embarrassed. But Juliet is unsure about Romeo, at least at first, right? She knows how she feels, but she's not exactly sure how he feels, right? And his true intentions, because after all, she just met him, right? Romeo is ready to do, he's ready to swear his devotion for her. He's ready to do whatever it takes, and he tells her that. And Juliet tells him, slow your roll, right? But then he doubles down and he starts telling her, no, this is how I really feel, right? So then her nurse calls her off stage. She goes off. She comes back. When she comes back, she offers herself in marriage to Romeo. She says, look, all right, if this is real, if this is true, if you truly do love me, I offer myself to you in marriage, right? She says that she's going to send somebody to go and talk to him to verify that he is still, in love with her, if he's, down to marry him or down to marry her, right? So she's going to send somebody out to go and make sure. They talk a little bit about the wedding, and Romeo, before he leaves, says, I'm going to go talk to this guy, Friar Lawrence, who is going to be the priest that is going to do the wedding. And this is a major, major character, Friar Lawrence. So this is the first mention of him. And this is where we see sort of like the real dramatic elements of this play sort of come out. So those two scenes, I think, are very important. They're very short, but they're very, very, very important. And I think as long as everybody understands what's going on, as long as everybody's good to this point, I think you're on the right track to figuring out the rest of this play. So if you have questions, or you don't know about something, or you are confused, or you need me, you let me know. You shoot me a comment. Right now, I need you guys to shoot a comment that you've watched this video, and I need you to make sure that you are getting that work done before midnight every night. You're checking every day at 9 a.m. to make sure that you are up to date. Your assignments get posted then. Do your very best. If you need assistance, you let me know. Other than that, sayonara.